Mitch Trubisky had 6 touchdowns on Sunday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it was awesome. It was fantastic. This is the first time Bears fans have really had a reason to finally believe in Mitch Trubisky. I mean, I'm sure that people who see him every day, people in the Bears facility go, yeah, he's working really hard. But if you're not around Mitch Trubisky every day, this is the first glimmer of hope Mitch Trubisky has given Bears fans. Now, Mitch Trubisky is improving tremendously, but he also does have a long way still to go. But I also would not put Mitch Trubisky in a box. We tend to say, well, Mitch Trubisky's doing really good, but his ceiling is this. His ceiling is Case Keenum or Kirk Cousins or Drew Brees. You know, we make a comparison. We say that's Mitch Trubisky's ceiling. And I don't think we're ready to do that yet. I think you should have faith in Mitch Trubisky. Here's why. I remember when I first learned how to drive a manual car. It's a stick shift. It's much more difficult than driving a regular car. There's more moving pieces. And I just felt hopeless. There was a day where I was driving to work, and I got stuck on a hill. I'm in the middle of the intersection, totally embarrassed. And I was like, man, I'm never going to figure this out. I am just, it's horrible. This stick shift thing is not working out. And I know that's how a lot of Bears fans have felt about Mitch Trubisky to this point. People have said, it's hopeless. We watched on against the Seahawks where Mitch Trubisky struggled. They won the game, but it was ugly. He missed a lot of open passes. And I was like, man, is Mitch Trubisky ever going to figure it out? And I'll tell you, the first time I drove to work without any problems was a big triumphant moment for me. I was like, yes, I made it. It was good. It worked. And I felt progress for the first time ever. I finally had hope. Oh, this thing, driving a stick shift, is going to work out. Well, Mitch Trubisky just had the same triumphant moment on Sunday against the Buccaneers. He had 6 touchdowns. It does not mean he has everything figured out, but it does show that all his hard work is paying off. This is the first time Mitch Trubisky's had a big-time, massive success. His obvious hard work is finally paying off. We saw an improvement in Mitch Trubisky. So I saw a lot of good. I watched the Bears-Buccaneers game. I broke it down on NFL Game Pass. Saw a lot of good, saw a lot of bad. I want to talk about all of it. The first thing that was much improved on Sunday was Mitch Trubisky's accuracy down the sideline. I have not seen that to this point. I've seen him underthrow a lot of passes. He still did that occasionally. But all in all, his throwing the ball down the field, down the sideline, long passes to Taylor Gabriel, long passes to Tariq Cohen, they were fantastic. It was awesome. Now, there's one thing I saw when watching film. He is improving. Now, weeks 1 through 3, Mitch Trubisky missed a lot of guys who were wide open. He would have a guy wide open. He'd either miss the throw or he simply wouldn't see him and he'd come off to something else. And you can't do that. As an NFL quarterback, if someone's wide open, you have to complete that pass. You have to throw an accurate pass and you have to see that they're open and throw them the ball. In week 4, Mitch Trubisky made a lot of those throws. He made a lot of throws to people who were wide open. He recognized they were wide open. He delivered the football, made that play. It was awesome. That was a massive improvement for Mitch Trubisky. That's why he had 6 touchdowns. And despite killing it, I know that Mitch Trubisky was fantastic. Despite having a great game, he was 19 for 26, had 354 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, did not have an interception. It's great. And despite all of that success, Mitch Trubisky still left a lot on the table. There's still a lot of room for him to grow. I mean, at times watching Mitch Trubisky, I'll be honest, it was frustrating. It was like, ooh, you should make that throw. He had a wide open 10-yard out, for example, early in the game, completely missed it. Or he had a comeback wide open. He does play action. He's sitting there. He looks at the guy. He makes eye contact with Taylor Gabriel. Doesn't pull the trigger. Doesn't throw the ball. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? What are you waiting for? And what he did is he waited for Taylor Gabriel to get out of his break, start coming across the field. Then he tried to throw the ball to Taylor Gabriel. His shoulder was pointed up. The ball sailed on him, incomplete pass. And that's why it's been really frustrating. He was late a couple times on some plays that they look really good, but the ball is late. I mean, or for example, there's a throw to Allen Robinson down the left sideline where Allen Robinson beat his man by like 3 steps. And he just underthrew the ball, and it was an incomplete pass because of Mitch Trubisky missing the throw. He either missed the throw, he wouldn't pull the trigger to guys who were open, or he simply didn't see that. And that did happen again in this game, even with 6 touchdowns. There's a lot of improving left for Mitch Trubisky to do. Now, I know it's frustrating sometimes to watch Mitch Trubisky, but again, I would encourage you, relax. He's still a work in progress. I think a lot of people we get so eager to go, he's done growing. This is the best he's ever going to get. We're done. He's reached his ceiling. No. Mitch Trubisky is very much still improving every single week. He's watching film. He's doing a lot of hard work. It's very obvious. Mitch Trubisky has a lot of hope. But right now, he's kind of like a building under construction. You don't know how big the building's going to get, but we know that the building is still under construction. We're not going to judge it for what it is yet. At some point, Mitch Trubisky is going to stop having massive, massive growth, but the truth is, he's going to be under construction the rest of his career. Guys like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, they are always making tweaks as their career goes on. But the leaps and bounds, the big, massive improvements for Mitch Trubisky, they are going to stop at some point. But there's a great example of Mitch Trubisky's improvement even during the game. There was a moment where the Buccaneers completely blew up one of the screen passes, and Mitch Trubisky still tried to fit it in. Ball got tipped up, almost got interception. He was lucky that the ball hit the ground. Now, there was a similar situation later in the game where, again, Mitch Trubisky goes to throw a screen pass. The Buccaneers completely blow it up. And instead of trying to force it in like he did last time, he learned from his mistake. He threw it in the dirt. Incomplete pass. Lived to see another day. It was smart. It was awesome. Now, I would love to see Mitch Trubisky hit every single throw downfield. It's not going to happen, at least not yet. There is still certainly some improving he can do. 8 minutes left before halftime. Mitch Trubisky threw a dime. But then later on the same throw, he missed it. And it's like, sometimes you're hitting guys in stride when they're beating a man by one step. And then other times he cannot make the same exact throw. It's kind of puzzling. I would like to see more consistent accuracy from Mitch Trubisky. But the number one thing that Mitch Trubisky needs to improve on, by far, is anticipation. Anticipating when a guy is going to be open. This is the wheel route I wanted to talk about. Early in the game, there was a wheel route that Mitch Trubisky threw to Tariq Cohen. It was a huge gain. I think it was like a 35-yard game. It didn't score, but it was an awesome throw. It looked really, really good. Everything looked good. But when you go and you look at the wide angle, you realize, Mitch Trubisky's late. The throw should have been out much, much earlier. It would have been a touchdown if Mitch Trubisky hadn't double-clutched it and thrown it late. There's something that Mitch Trubisky does that is concerning. It's he lacks anticipation. Trubisky's waiting for people to be open and then throwing the ball. He's not anticipating when they're going to be open and throwing the ball before they break. If I'm going to cut across the middle, if I'm going to cut left, I'm going to plant one foot in the ground and then go left. And when you plant your foot on the ground and get prepared to go left, that's when the quarterback should throw the ball. Depending on the window, but in that situation, he should have thrown the ball the minute the foot was planted in the ground. Often what Mitch Trubisky does is wait till after the guy plants his foot on the ground and runs 3 steps to the left. He's already moving left. Then Mitch Trubisky throws the ball. It's often too late. He waits until guys are open rather than throwing them open. I would compare that to Jared Goff. What Jared Goff does all the time is throw people open. A guy's not open yet. Jared Goff will throw the ball to an open area, lead the guy open, and what that means is Jared Goff is throwing people open. He makes a guy open with where Jared Goff throws the ball. In comparison, Trubisky's waiting until guys are open and then throwing the football. And that's where the Bears head coach, Matt Nagy, comes into play. Their offensive coach is a genius. They have Mark Helfrich, a great offensive coordinator. Matt Nagy's an incredible play designer. Matt Nagy, the Bears offensive coach and Bears head coach, is probably the best offensive mind right now in the NFL. The Bears wide receivers are open by 10 or 15 yards constantly. I would even say Matt Nagy he's coaching better than Sean McVay is the Rams head coach. If I'm a receiver in the NFL, I want to go play for the Bears because I know I'm going to be wide open. I'm talking there are not people around the Bears wide receivers for 10 or 15 yards. It's like college. They are wide open. And that's why Mitch Trubisky keeps getting away with being late with a football. If a guy's open by 10 yards, I can throw it to him and there's no chance of that getting intercepted. It's when the windows get tighter as teams adjust. That's when you get concerned with Trubisky. Here's the coolest part of what the Bears are doing. The Bears are running the same concepts that everybody else is doing, but they're doing it in a more creative way and getting the routes coming from different areas. Here's what I mean. There's a touchdown to Tariq Cohen late in the game. It's a regular concept everybody runs. It's a vertical with 2 slants underneath. One guy goes deep, 2 guys come across the middle. But Matt Nagy puts his own creative spin on the play. Instead of having 3 receivers run a vertical and 2 slants, he has Tariq Cohen come back into the backfield at the running back position and run the slant from there. And that's why it scored a touchdown, is because of the action. It's the same concept everybody runs, but rather than having 3 receivers, he has 2 receivers and a running back run that concept, and that's why Tariq Cohen scored the touchdown. I don't know. It's interesting. So Mitch Trubisky's showing massive, massive improvement. He's getting a lot of help from his coach. His coach is doing more creative things, getting guys wide open. But Mitch Trubisky needs to continue to improve. If he doesn't keep improving, then he's going to struggle down the road because other teams are going to adjust. Teams are going to make adjustments to what the Bears are doing on offense. These wide open guys who are open by 10 or 15 yards, those windows are going to shrink. And so Trubisky needs to improve his anticipation and get ready for when teams adjust, he needs to counter by being earlier to throwing the ball. There were only 4 games in. People are going to watch the Bears offense and make adjustments. He needs to keep improving and making his own adjustments. And if he does, the Bears are going to be incredibly successful. So Bears fans should be very hopeful. Clearly, Trubisky's making massive improvements. If you watch the Seattle game and then watch that Buccaneers game, you'll be very excited. He will not miss people wide open anymore. It doesn't seem like he's going to do that. He's learned from the past. He's making improvements. And don't put a ceiling on Mitch Trubisky. We don't know where he's going to end up. We don't know if he's going to be Tom Brady. I don't think so. We know he's not going to be Patrick Mahomes. His arm is not there. But Mitch Trubisky could be incredibly, incredibly successful. Don't put a ceiling on the kid. Let him improve. Give him some space. He's going to keep making mistakes, but he's also going to keep improving. So give him time. Be patient. He's giving you hope. If you're a Bears fan and he throws a bonehead interception next week, don't be mad at him. It's very obvious. He's putting a lot of work in the film room. He's got probably no life. I would imagine all his time's going to football, and it's showing up on the field. Those 6 touchdowns are a product of Mitch Trubisky's hard work. He just can't stop. He has to keep going. He has to keep improving. If he doesn't keep improving, then I'll be concerned. But if he keeps improving, everybody's going to be excited. He's going to win a lot of games, and he's going to be much better. So have patience. Let him keep improving, but do recognize the kid is working hard. The kid is getting better. He just needs to continue to get better. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Zach Schaumler. This is my show, Strong Opinion Sports. It's my pride and joy. I'm very proud of it. If you're new to Strong Opinion Sports, you can subscribe to it on iTunes, SoundCloud, on YouTube. You can find the full entire hour-long podcast on YouTube, or you can find more shorter breakout videos like the one you just watched. And if you like what I had to say, maybe you hate what I had to say, share this with your friends. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. Help me grow Strong Opinion Sports by telling your friends about the show. My name is Zach Schaumler. Have a great day.